Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a very special, bizarre episode of MooseMachine melds with Menoth John in a bizarre, weird way because audio problems and computer and all that type of stuff. Crazy crap has
So,
happened in the world of War Machine. And I'd like to introduce the people that we brought all together in one room to talk about it, starting with the guy who made the audio work, Menoth John. Say hello, Menoth John. What's going on?
that's right, bitches. They came to Painting with Menoth John to fix technical issues. This is a sign of the apocalypse.
We also managed to nab from the Ethernet no other than Bubba Dalton, who's never been on our show before, but, because he found out that we were going to be on Menoth John, was like, hey, I'm in. Say hi, Bubba.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Of course, joining me, because I can't normally do anything without the help of the one and only G, is PG Semi-Automagic. Say hello.
Hello.
And if you don't know me, I'm the Myth Gorax, and I'm the guy who doesn't know crap about War Machine and has all the questions. So I make other people talk about it. Okay, guys, I don't think there's any mystery as to what we need to talk about today. What's happened is the biggest news in War Machine since Mark II has dropped, which is the biggest news since Mark I has dropped, and then before that, they invented the wheel. They announced Mark III today, and people are going nuts about it. There's 2 videos. Everybody's had a chance to watch them, I'm guessing. And yeah, let's start right at the top with Menoth John. Tell me a bit about what we've seen, what we know.
Well, I did have the opportunity before the internet collapsed in on PP's ultrasound IT-approved server system. And I think that, some of the things that struck me as I have all of the rules already. Being the president of War Machine and Hordes for Life, I've got all the rules right here in front of me, but I've only been authorized. I'm going to parse them out to y'all. It looks to me from what I can tell you about that it looks like jacks are going to get a pretty fairly major rewrite. I think that was probably the biggest thing from a rule standpoint that I was able to glean out of the video. They referred to battle groups being even more important and the jacks being more efficient than ever. So that's kind of the first thing. And what do you think about that, Bubba?
I think it's it's good that they went there first because it's the most needed change in the game.
Mm-hmm.
From any level, whether it's the competitive level or the fun level, warjacks just aren't fun.
Okay. Bubby, you froze up there for just a second.
Bubba's processing, apparently.
We just aren't.
As a Convergence player, I hope that everybody gets the wonder and glory that I do, which is the ability to actually have jacks, use them, and not be crippled by your Warcaster having to fuel them all. I really hope that there's something, probably not the Convergence mechanic specifically, but I hope that they do something so that the game about big stumpy robots and giant slathering beasts has big stumpy robots and giant slathering beasts in it.
I completely... Go ahead, Will.
Do I work now?
Yeah, you work now.
I think we all agree we got into this game. We didn't get into this game because we wanted a bunch of infantry. What grabbed everybody? I mean, there may be a couple of people out there that, no, I'm here for the infantry. I think that's bullshit. I think we all bought the game right off the bat because we saw big stompy robots and we're like, that would be really badass. So, talking about it being a needed change, it's an awesome change. That's what we really want. Now, here's the question I have to kind of follow that up. Can they do it? And is it going to have to be a major departure from the rule set as it exists in order to get there? Menoth John, what do you think?
Well, one of the things that I think they also mentioned in the course of the video was that they were looking at the game being streamlined and more accessible. That the current rule set might be a tad on the complicated side, which I think is a fair statement for a newer player. So I think that what we might see is a bringing together of the Fury mechanic and the focus mechanic, such that maybe you can force warjacks coming forward. And then there'll be some type of overheating mechanic or something like that you can only pull back. They'll probably get rid of the focus mechanic, allow you to stack your armor with it, maybe clear up that rules differentiation between the two games. I'm not sure. But I think that the thing that they did stress that was I think worth noting was streamlining, more accessibility, and that I think is, while it sounds a little Age of Sigmar-ish, but I don't think that they will fall into that trap, so to speak.
Well, I mean, come on, they've got the perfect example already there of falling into that trap. PG Semi-Automagic, going to you, who came from Mark 1 early on, right into Mark 2. You played the game at the start when there was, people still playing Mark 1. Did they streamline the mechanics at that point? And was like, because that was a streamlining of the mechanics, especially the numbers mechanic at that point. Did you find that when they did it good last time, is it possible that they'll do a good job this time?
I think we have moved very far since Mark 1 and Mark 2, just from a game design standpoint. There are a lot of new games out there with new mechanics that PP has seen. Some of them succeed, some of them fail. They've seen what people like and what people don't like. I think they could streamline the game even better. And it is going to, by its very nature, reduce complexity. But that is not necessarily a bad thing. As long as they can reduce complexity while keeping all the same strategic options open, there are a lot of things in this game that are almost identical, but not really. Right. Abomination and terror. There's no really good reason for those to be two rules. They're both how to break a unit when you get close to it with something horrible.
Right.
So things like that are going to, if they take those two, merge them into one rule, we're not losing anything in the game. We still have that mechanic, but it is going to make it way easier for people coming into the game, instead of having to remember 10 very similar things, to be able to remember 4 certain things.
Well, and that, so moving beyond from what we've learned from the video, because now we're into conjecture at this point, but we have seen some solid stuff. Let's talk about the new battle boxes. I want to throw that out to you, Bubba. What stood out for you seeing what the new battle boxes look like?
I think they're really pushing. They want the new players. They've really put that out there. The value seems to be unreal. Like the value is up there with the all-in-ones. It might even be better. You have the play mat. I think it's a 2x2. I don't recall a specific size, but you have small terrain, look like a forest, a wall, maybe another piece. You have a battle group of your old jacks worked in with the brand new casters. As a little aside, I'm wondering if for the first little while, that's the only way you're going to be able to get the new casters. I wonder if PP is going to work that angle and just be like, you can't get them individually. You have to buy this box first. Not that they're expensive. I think $40 US. I think they were.
Yeah,
fantastic starter price.
And
then you're also getting the new rule book. You're getting a secondary book for your faction, which I don't believe is going to be like a full faction book. I think it's going to be more of a, this is your faction. This is kind of what they do.
Yeah. Here's
some of the stuff. This is kind of how you use them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like that intro, again, pushing that intro thing. And then you get the quick start rules. And I find the value, specifically for a new player, is just outstanding. So I think PP is, again, just pushing the hell out of that.
A rumor is they're in the new plastic too, which, that's how they're keeping the price down, and the new plastic is great. So, I mean, there's a lot of benefits for them to move over to that model entirely. Menoth John getting this from from our feed. Question flippity bloop from Tau Dark: is there any concern with the Mark III Wormhorde migration that somehow that will implode the community? I.e., Malifaux going from Mark 1 to Mark 2. I don't know enough about Malifaux, but that apparently was a kiss of death according to Teo Dark. Do you feel like that is a concern?
Well, I think that I've been playing the game since back in Mark 1 also, and I remember when we came through Legends and all of that implied that we were going that indeed kind of there was this huge player sort of beta test that went on in the transition from Mark 1 to Mark 2, that I think if the original rules for Mark 2 had been released the way that they were without that beta test, I think we would have had a very different reaction to that game than the one we eventually got when the book released. I think the biggest chance that we have that this could implode the game is if they've done a poor job on rewriting these rules without getting the community's input. There was a lot of stuff that was straight up broken as shit coming out of that playtest. And if they had thought that those rules were going to be correct out of the box during that playtest, then I think there is a reason for concern. Now, am I going to sit here and be like the Doommeister of all the privateer forums? No. I am concerned about a few things. I'm concerned the fact that David Carl is not a member of that staff any longer, and in David I trust. But I think that the Dowdark is citing the very real thing that happened to Malifaux, which was the change was so radical and not necessarily a good one that they lost a lot of players. There will be people that will quit the game on Mark III. There were people that quit the game when Mark I went to Mark II, but the game ultimately emerged from that transition quite a bit stronger. Bubba, I'm not sure how long you have been playing the game. Were you there for the transition between Mark I and Mark II?
I've only been playing for 2.5 years.
Okay.
So I'm nowhere near long enough to be there, but I hear lots of stories.
Yeah.
So the next thing, I think everybody's got those concerns. I think being negative at this point, and we're not being, obviously, and I'm not saying anybody is, but this will be the general reaction because it's the interwebs. But being negative at this point before you've even seen it is not the best way to go. And hopefully we'll get a chance to get our hands on a little bit of play testing before that transition's made. And let's be honest, worst comes to worst, if the new version is a piece of garbage, then the core group that really only wants to play Mark II can keep playing Mark II until whatever problems are fixed or whatever. So think about things that way. PG Semi-Automagic, we do have some information about the changeover in cards, that there will be new decks and that we'll be able to get sort of an upgrade to War Room. Tell us a bit about that and how you think that's going to kind of solve that transition issue that we went through last time, where you basically had to wait for the faction books to come out in order to transition into the new, to play your stuff.
Well, one of the things that happened is that the transition, we were getting a lot of new stuff at the same time between 1 and 2. Just like from the transfer over from Mark I to Mark II, there are going to be faction decks released. So you'll be able to just buy a deck with all the cards in it, and that will let you use all your old models. There also will be a War Room update. I'm not sure whether we're going to get the new War Room that's currently in beta as a, for want of a better word, a launch title with Mark III. But it has been said already that we will need to purchase new decks for Mark III for War Room, whichever War Room it is. But they've also said that there will be a significant discount for people who have already purchased the decks.
Makes sense.
And anybody purchasing a new deck as of January 1st, 2016, so anybody literally who's purchased a deck this year is going to get a free upgrade.
That seems really fair.
Yeah.
That seems really fair.
I think it's the best way they could have gone. My sort of gut reaction is that if they have all of the models from Mark II in the Prime or Primal book, or even as a relatively inexpensive add-on book, so you'll have the Prime and then a book labeled like Prime Models or something, and those come out right away, then all they have to do is they don't have to worry about faction books anymore. They can just put out more expansion books with the new casters and new models in it. We won't have to worry about that wait, which book is getting released first, which book is getting released second, whatever.
I think that looks very likely from the battle box, because it seems as though what they're doing here is they're going to move to a model of the mini rule book as being the core experience. So you're not, if it lists any models in that book, my gut tells me it'll be the battle box models, and then the strategy book will likely have some type of a broader listing of what models are available for that faction at the time of the launch. And I foresee a 0% chance of faction books being a thing. This game I think is going to launch 100% on launch day, and it's not going to be waiting for Forces books like we had to go through on the transition of 1 to 2.
Hey, and PP, if you're listening, like straight up, that's what we want.
Oh yeah,
that's what we all want. If you're not planning to go that direction right now, I'm telling you, your entire community. I don't know anybody that's gonna be, I kind of want a graduated experience into it.
Yeah.
So, Bubba, I want to send this out to you. What is the concern, or are you excited about the changes that'll happen to the competitive community? Because I mean, this is going to shake up everything. We already know that there's new rules coming out for Iron Gauntlet, or for all the different styles of competitive play. We've been hinted that those are coming, and they're coming at the same time. So, wax philosophical on that. Is this a needed thing?
So it is. It's going to be so much information to take in such a short period of time. Like the 3 days of lock and load, it'll probably get it probably won't all come out on the Friday or whatever. That'd be craziness. People's heads would explode. But it's a lot of information to take. Is it a needed change? That's up for debate. The game is stagnant in terms of list design. Like you see the same things over and over and over again in the competitive scene.
Yep.
So it'll hopefully be a welcome change there. There have already been concerns and grumblings from my friends about WTC, with it being 6 months away, 4 months away from the reboot. But it's going to be a change for everyone, so I don't think it's a big deal. I think the biggest problem with this is people are, for lack of a better word, scared. It's something that's unknown, and unknown means you're scared.
Well, we've all invested. Most of the competitive players have invested more than $1,000 into this. And a couple of years,
and hundreds of hours of time. And it's something they love, and it's something they do. My biggest piece of advice is wait. Wait. See.
Yeah.
Nobody has any idea what's going to happen.
PG Semi-Automatic as a PG. What are you going to do to help community build us through this terrifying time for nerds?
Well, I think one of the great things about this time period from now until June is that we have an opportunity to get people excited about a new game while being able to buy models for that game that does not exist yet. So for the next 6 months, I am selling this game on, look at how well they did this game. Look at how awesome these models are. In 6 months, there's a brand new game that uses all these models. So buy the faction that you like the look of, paint them up. In the meantime, if you want to play the game, here's all the current rules. Here's all the great stuff that you can do. And then they're going to be even better in 6 months. And that's the way you sell this type of thing. We already know what's coming out in the new battle boxes. So what you can do is you can say, look, these are the models that are in the new battle box. I know you're going to want to buy that when it comes out. So what are we going to do? Here are other things that can work with those models when they come out. Let's buy you the alternate battle box. And then here are the models that will help you make the army. So like there's a whole new way of selling this game. And the fact that having the new models all coming out in PVC, I think that's one of the things we missed about talking about the battle box. These are all the new PVC plastic models, so the hard plastics. I think that's going to be an amazing experience for the people when we get closer to. So right now, I'm not slowing anybody down on getting into the hobby. End of May, beginning of June, I'm going to be saying, well, if you wait a month, instead of getting those in the old plastic, you'll be able to get it in the new amazing PVC plastic, which is only amazing for Privateer Press. Everybody else has got that for a while. But the old, new amazing PVC plastic, and they're going to be like, oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, totally. Benoth, John, we have got some hints as to what the release event is going to be kind of like for this. Like conjecture? What have you heard?
I haven't heard anything as far as the release event's concerned. I do want to step back, though, for just a half a second to the PVC comment. Are we sure that PVC is the hard plastic that comes on sprues?
I believe polyvinyl chloride is the sprue plastic, yeah.
Because the stuff that you see from GW that's on sprues that is not their god-awful fine cast is polystyrene.
Oh, okay. So they're using polystyrene.
And I thought that the transemergence cock projector or whatever the fuck it is, was polystyrene.
Okay, well, I may be incorrect. They have, I am correct about what the material is.
Yeah.
What I might be incorrect about is the style of the material.
Okay, I'm not certain. I don't want us to make people think that it's So we do need to get some clarification on what the polystyrene, if it's polystyrene or the Restic as it's been with it, that it was initially popularized by the Retribution or not popularized by the Retribution Jacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the release event, no idea.
Yeah. PG Semi-Automagic, we had some sort of information. June 29th, they're going to do something, right?
June 29th is release day.
Okay, and will there be some sort of event around that, do we think, or?
There will be a release event. I'm just trying to find the name of it, because that has been Full Steam. Full Steam is the name of the event. As far as I know, that's all the info I have right now. With Privateer Press's site down, my PG page is also taking a hammering. So I don't have much more information than that, but I do know that there is going to be a nice big event for Mark III.
Sweet. I think we should wrap this up, guys. I think we've sort of milked it for all it's worth, and I'm almost out of moonshine, and I can't see how much sortilege John has left, but I think he's got to go do a meeting or something.
Yeah, I got to have a job and stuff.
I'm going to start with Bubba. Closing remarks, thoughts, things you want to say to the community about this.
Guys, just be excited. Don't look negatively on it. Don't fear the doom and gloom just yet. Maybe it does happen for you, for your faction. I don't know, but look at it positively. Look at all the possibilities. List creation, new models, new possibilities. You can play the Cossite Woodsman. No, you can't. And the thing with War Room is, to me, because they're charging something, it might just be because it's the new fancy War Room, but to me that signals lots of changes to the cards. So I just feel that if they're going to charge us again, there's got to be a lot of value in there. So I'm really looking forward to lots of changes, and I'm super excited to make all these fun lists.
PG Semi-Automagic, closing thoughts?
Two things. One, I am massively excited. This is a really, I think it's a change that was needed, and I think it is a change that is really going to invigorate everything. I do hope kind of a lot of the spell names aren't changed, even if their effects are, just so that we can still say all the things we're used to. But I think it will be amazing. The other little thing I wanted to throw in there is I wanted to pimp MooseMachine's coverage of the Southern Ontario Open this weekend. Starting Friday, kind of 8 a.m., running constantly until Sunday at about 6 or 7, we will be broadcasting almost every event from the Southern Ontario Open.
Super
awesome. I
awesome.
think we got prizes and all kinds of other stuff happening. There'll be lightning rounds flying everywhere. It's going to be wild and crazy. But now, John, closing thoughts.
The only thing I would caution, I mean, we've had a lot of really positivity. I'm not trying to bring the positivity level down at all, but if I were a player right now, this would not be the time I would think about purchasing into a theme list that it requires an unusually large number of units of a specific kind. You should feel free if there is a unit you don't own yet to go out and buy that, because you know that that's going to be out there and that's going to be something that's going to be evergreen. But do not go out this week and purchase 4 units of Rune Shapers. I can almost promise you, and this is your president speaking to you, that with Mark III comes a full reset button on theme lists, because they ain't going to be pointed the same. They're not going to be the same models as far as their capabilities or even their stats. We don't have no idea on that. So just hedge your bets, hang loose. Don't get buying into any type of a major theme force at this point. But I would echo the sentiments of the other folks. It's a time to be cautiously optimistic. We know that there's been a lot of troubles with the competitive balance, the theme list diversity, things like that. This is a time to be hopeful. And with that, I guess that's about the end of my comments.
I'm going to close it all out with, I think what I'm most excited about is that period of time that I had when I first started playing War Machine 2-3 years, whatever we're at now, where I was testing models to figure out if they worked, and all that stuff on the internet I wasn't really paying attention to because I was a new player. So I liked a model, I would buy it and I'd play it. I like to think that with Mark II, we're going to get another 6 to 8 months of that reemergence of trying. You're going 3 months of before it's all ruined and we're all
no Mark III.
Sorry, Mark III.
One,
Sorry,
1 month.
You think it's 1 month before we're back to?
Because all people care about now is net decking.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have fun with it for at least a month where you're trying to figure out how to play, and those of us that are always trying to come up with new things are going to have like an open field for a little while where we just don't know what's super powerful and what isn't.
Sluggers, bitches, they're coming. Sluggers. It's
Totally.
all sluggers in 2016.
It's just gonna go out and you've heard it now, folks.
2
go
units.
Out and buy 20 sluggers.
2 units.
It's the year of the Man of War.
That's right. For me, it's going to be back to all encephalics because dredges rule.
There you go. They're going to be super legit.
Super legit. That's what I've heard. All right, guys, I think we're going to close it out there. Everybody on the feed will be hanging out for a couple of minutes, and we'll try to answer your questions, but this will be the end of our podcast. We would love to hear all your comments. Please go to Menoth John's Facebook page, go to our Facebook page, wherever you want to throw down and give your feedback on this crazy event. This is where we want to hear your feedback. George and I will be back on Wednesday. I guarantee we've got a roundtable on Wednesday with a lot of different people. I guarantee this is going to be a larger focus of what we talk about as more and more information starts getting out there over the next few days. Manoth John, you'll be back on Sunday, and I'm guessing this might come up.
It will definitely come up. And by the way, if you missed any part of this broadcast and want to catch it, I will be putting this up at the youtube.com/MenothJohn. And so if you want to get over there, if you're not subscribed to that channel, check it out.
Yeah, and so we're going to put this up on Manoth John's channel. It'll end up on our channel. It's going to be all over the place. But we really just want to hear from you guys. Bubba, thank you so much for joining us today. It was awesome having you. Feel free to join us on our podcast anytime you like. You are a wise and wonderful man. We have a lovely variety of beards on this particular broadcast, which I'm particularly proud of. Thank you to all the fans for tuning in as quickly as you did. Say goodnight, PG Semi-Auto Magic.
Good night, PG Semi-Auto Magic.